The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills needs to fire Kyle Richards. The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills has had a ho-hum couple of seasons. Despite the best attempts from producers to reinvigorate the show, season 14 has proven that there's no future if it continues to feature Kyle Richards. As the sole original star left on the Bravo hit, she gets away with much more than her co-stars, ultimately sending the series down the wrong path. Undoubtedly, RHOBH would never have reached the success it has if Kyle wasn't a part of the cast. Her family drama with siblings Kathy Hilton and Kim Richards made good TV for many years. Once upon a time, Kyle had a spring in her step as she took viewers into her life. Despite showcasing some episodes of delusion, the series has mined many storylines from her life. She's the definition of OG and was a crucial element of the show's success. But what else does she have to offer nowadays? Her storyline on RHOBH Season 13, including the downfall of her marriage to Mauricio Umansky and questions about her relationship with Morgan Wade, took up so much time, and viewers got little in return. Midway through RHOBH Season 14, we still have so many questions about her personal life, and it's becoming increasingly clear that we've been watching a persona the entire time she's been on the show. Kyle Richards is cashing a check and nothing else on RHOBH Season 14. Kyle is a fantastic actress, but she just played up this persona so much better in prior seasons, so our best guess is that she's checked out of the show because, like viewers, she's bored of it. It must have been physically and mentally taxing to have the cameras following her every move for several months a year for the past 15 years, so we fully believe that it's time she took a breather for the show. Whether that's permanent would be down to producers, but it needs to happen for at least a trial period to try to shift the storylines in a funner direction. Kyle has had her day in the spotlight, and freeing up her salary could allow an A-list star to take her place and give the show a much-needed facelift. We don't doubt that a network would be interested in poaching Kyle to chart her next chapter because she's accrued quite the following during her time on the show, but she has nothing left to give RHOBH. Kyle needs to leave, and someone bigger needs to take her place. Watching her in her post-marriage life should have delivered some compelling storylines, but without Dorrit Kemsley reading her for filth, what would she have done this season for screen time? The reality is that the rest of the cast is putting in the work, and Kyle expects to cash that check and stick around because of her OG status. With the ratings down this season, Bravo and producers need to take note and make changes before we have another The Real Housewives of New York on our hands. The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, RHOBH, has long been a jewel in Bravo's reality TV crown, captivating audiences with its heady mix of opulence, glamour, and drama. But as the seasons have rolled on, one housewife's presence has begun to feel less like a sparkle and more like a smudge on the show's polished reputation. Kyle Richards, a staple of RHOBH since its debut, has worn out her welcome, and it's time for Bravo to cut ties with her for the betterment of the franchise. When RHOBH first premiered, Kyle was a relatable entry point for viewers. With her role as a mother, a wife, and a sister navigating complicated family dynamics, she struck a balance between Hollywood elite and grounded every woman. Her close relationship with her sister, Kim Richards, added a layer of authenticity to the early seasons. However, over time, Kyle's charm has eroded, leaving behind a housewife who feels more calculated than candid, more controlling than collaborative. One of the main reasons RHOBH needs to fire Kyle is her increasingly transparent attempts to control the narrative. As seasons have progressed, viewers have noticed a pattern. Kyle positions herself as the group's moral compass, while subtly manipulating situations to ensure she comes out looking like the hero. Her arguments are often steeped in deflection, and she rarely takes accountability when she's at fault. Instead, she doubles down, relying on tears and emotional appeals to garner sympathy from castmates and viewers alike. Take, for example, Kyle's feud with Lisa Vanderpump in Season 9. Once close friends, their relationship deteriorated in the wake of Puppygate, a scandal that centered on a dog adopted by Dorrit Kemsley from Vanderpump's rescue organization. Kyle's role in the fallout was significant. She accused Lisa of planting stories in the press and orchestrated a dramatic confrontation at Villa Rosa. While Lisa chose to exit the show, Kyle emerged unscathed, a testament to her ability to sidestep accountability. This pattern has repeated itself in subsequent seasons, with Kyle often acting as the instigator while presenting herself as the victim. Moreover, Kyle's insistence on staying at the center of the drama has stifled the franchise's ability to grow and evolve. Her longevity on the show has created a dynamic where new cast members struggle to find their footing. Kyle's tendency to form alliances with longtime castmates, such as Lisa Rinna and Erica Jane, has alienated newcomers who often find themselves on the outskirts of the group. This dynamic was evident with Sutton Stracke and Garcelle Beauvais, both of whom have had to fight for space within the narrative. By prioritizing her own screen time and relationships, Kyle has hindered the ensemble nature that made RHOB compelling in its early years. Another issue is the growing disconnect between Kyle and the audience. As the show has evolved, so have the expectations of its viewers. Modern reality TV audiences crave authenticity, and the cracks in Kyle's facade have become too glaring to ignore. Her recent storylines, such as her tequila venture and marital issues with Mauricio Umansky, have felt contrived, more like a ploy for camera time than genuine struggles. This lack of relatability is a far cry from the Kyle who once worried about her daughter's school projects and her husband's business ventures. The show's ratings and fan engagement also suggest it's time for a shakeup. While RHOBH remains popular, there's a growing sentiment among fans that the franchise has become stagnant. Social media is rife with calls for casting changes, with many viewers expressing frustration over Kyle's continued presence. Her inability to bring fresh energy to the show has contributed to this fatigue, and Bravo risks alienating its audience if it doesn't take action. Firing Kyle would open the door for new dynamics and fresh faces. RHOB thrives on change. Some of its most memorable moments have come from the introduction of new housewives who shake up the status quo. Just imagine the possibilities if Kyle's departure made room for a more diverse cast or allowed underutilized housewives like Garcelle and Sutton to take center stage. Removing Kyle would not only reinvigorate the franchise, but also signal to viewers that Bravo is willing to take risks to keep RHOBH exciting and relevant. Additionally, Kyle's departure could lead to the resolution of long-standing tensions. Her relationships with her sisters, Kim Richards and Kathy Hilton, have been a source of drama for years. While these familial conflicts have provided memorable moments, they've also become repetitive. Without Kyle in the mix, the show could explore new dynamics with Kathy or even bring back Kim for a fresh perspective. It's worth noting that Kyle's role in these conflicts often centers on her need for control, and her absence could allow her sisters to shine without the shadow of their family history looming over them. Critics might argue that firing Kyle would create a void in the cast, given her status as an original housewife. However, Bravo has successfully navigated similar transitions in the past. When Lisa Vanderpump left, many predicted RHOBH would falter, yet the show soldiered on. The same was true when Bethany Frankel exited The Real Housewives of New York City and Nene Leakes departed The Real Housewives of Atlanta. These departures, while challenging, ultimately allowed their respective franchises to evolve and adapt. In the end, the decision to fire Kyle Richards should come down to what's best for RHOBH as a whole. The franchise has reached a crossroads, and it's clear that maintaining the status quo isn't sustainable. Kyle's departure would send a strong message that Bravo is committed to keeping RHOBH fresh, dynamic, and engaging. It would also give the remaining cast members the freedom to step into new roles and explore uncharted territory. Reality TV is, at its core, about evolution. It's about pushing boundaries, taking risks, and keeping audiences on the edge of their seats. By clinging to Kyle Richards, RHOBH risks becoming a relic of its former glory. It's time for Bravo to recognize that the franchise's future depends on bold decisions, and firing Kyle is the first step in that direction.